I think it's pretty.
You ready, councillors?
Because it flows on.
Thank you, Shannon. Thanks, Bella.
You put up.
Councillors, on behalf of the Glenelg Shire Council, I respectfully acknowledge the traditional lands and waters of the Gunditjmara people and their respective cultural heritage. I acknowledge the elders past and present here at today's gathering and through them to all Aboriginal people. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people provide an important contribution to Australia's cultural heritage and identity. We respectfully acknowledge the Aboriginal and Torres Strait community living throughout the Glenelg Shire and the contribution they make to the Glenelg Shire's prosperity and well-being. For those present at today's gathering, by attending the public meeting of the Council, you are consenting to your image, voice and comments being recorded and published. Council meetings may be live streamed and the Chief Executive Office will enable a copy for public recording to the public. Receipt of apologies, councillors. Councillor Robert McDonald and Councillor Mike Noski are both apologies for this evening's meeting. Are there any declarations of conflicts of interest in any of the agenda item or the agenda item for tonight? There are nil. I will note that there are nil apologies. Councillors, the report that we have before us is the primary production drought support payment. Mr Hall, would you like to make comment, please?
Madam Mayor, thank you. Yes, so we have received advice early July that Glenelg Shire is one of the councils in southwest Victoria to receive funding for the primary production drought support payment. The amount is basically derived from the number of the amount of rates within our primary production sector, but the local government of Victoria is open to any alternative method that council has in which to disperse the funds. Madam Mayor, with the requirement for the information to be recorded on the rates notices, which are imminently due out, and the lack of any obvious alternative way to apply the funding, there is a recommendation there to apply as LGV have determined the funding amount.
Thank you, Mr Hall. Councillors, are there any questions of Mr Hall? Councillor Carr.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. Just in relation to the funding, how many councils out of all of the councils in Victoria were allocated this funding? Do we know?
Mr Hall, I think there were 12 councils that were drought declared across Victoria.
I'd have to, Madam Mayor, check on the number, but I think it was around the 10 to 12 councils within the southwest that were eligible for the funding. There is certainly some councils in our region that weren't eligible for it, who are certainly lobbying the state government for their inclusion.
I think there's 12 across Victoria in obviously rural councils. Councillor Carr.
Yeah.
You can check if you like. Councillor Carr.
Madam Mayor, just the primary production, just with the definition, if we could just have that definition again as to what a primary production is under our rate assessment, because I believe that's who it, if we endorse the recommendation, that's who it will be applied to.
Mr Hall, did you?
In general terms, without looking up the exact definition, if I may, Madam Mayor, so generally primary producers are those with more than a 40 hectare producing items that fall under primary production. There are a few exemptions for some elements that are smaller than that, which is defined in the definition. But generally, it's for those larger properties where primary production is its main source of income.
That sit within a rural zoning.
Generally, yes. Well, it's primary production zoning. So, Madam Mayor, we have the three. It's either general land, commercial, industrial, or it's primary production, essentially.
And there's some, Mr Hall, there's 2,754 assessments within our primary production category for the Glenelg Shire for this year's budget, I believe.
And it's correct, Madam Mayor. So, as I said, that figure could change over a period of time. However, in the report, because of the funding is a once-off in once in a time application. We'll be applying it under the recommendation to those 2,754 assessments
Yes.
as at the budget adopted basically at the end of June.
Yes. So the 40% councillors will be applied to every one of those assessments across the board.
Understood.
Yep. Okay. If there's no further questions, councillors, there is a recommendation there tabled on page 5 of tonight's paper. Councillor Pepper.
Can I just make a statement, Madam Mayor?
Sure.
I'd just like to say that initially I was thought that this should have just gone to farmers, but in looking at it, the state government has given it to primary production assessment notices, and so I feel that we should adhere to that, and I feel that in this drought, everybody is affected with it, and it's been the state government have come forward with this, and so I think that as Councillor Carr pointed out last week, we as a council group, whether it's the councillors or whether it's the CEO and his staff, we all went for this, along with other councillors, along with other organisations. The state government have come forward now with something, and I don't think now is the time to be worried about who's getting whatever. I think it's been allocated there, and I feel that we just be grateful for what's happened so far, and that just all organisations that are receiving a rebate just be grateful that something has happened, because this is what we wanted, this is what we asked for, this is what we wrote letters about, and so therefore I'd be, I'm just in full favour of the whole thing, Madam Mayor. Thanks.
Thank you. Would somebody please like to move the motion, please? Councillor Carr.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation that Council 1 acknowledges the funding of $3.961 million to be received for the primary production drought support payment from Local Government Victoria, and 2, authorises the Director of Corporate Services to apply the funding to the rate notices of the 2,754 properties within Council's primary production rating category at a rate of 40%.
Councillor Pepper, are you seconding that?
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Carr.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. Look, Glenelg led the way through an endorsed motion put forward by Councillor Pepper a couple of months ago in relation to requesting support for the drought-stricken farmers of Glenelg. I'd firstly like to acknowledge this is a significant announcement for the Glenelg Shire and the primary producers who make up roughly 50% of Council's rating revenue.
Yep.
State government's paying for it, we'll administer it, they're paying for us to administer it, and the farmers' primary production sector will get the benefit. The Victorian Government has confirmed $3.961 million primary production drought support payment to assist our local farmers and agricultural communities during this challenging period of prolonged drought. It couldn't have come at a better time. The primary producers have endured months and in some cases years of hardship. They've battled the dry soils, diminishing water supplies, declining yields, and the emotional and financial strain that comes with it. But through it all, they've continued to show grit, innovation, and an unwavering commitment to our region's food security and economic strength. This funding will provide immediate relief. It will help producers meet essential costs, maintain operations, support their workforce, and begin the process of long-term recovery, and have minimal to no impact on what Council delivers day to day over the next 12 months. It's more than just money, it's recognition that the rural and regional community of Glenelg matters. Their voice was heard, this Council did its bit, and the government's now doing theirs. So on behalf of the Council, I'd just like to sincerely thank the Victorian State Government for this funding, and to every farmer, family, business impacted by this drought, we do see you, we are listening to you, we are advocating for you, and we're thankful that the state government was able to give us this funding, and we're in a position to administer it and pass it on to you by endorsing this motion tonight. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Carr. Councillor Pepper.
Madam Mayor, I made my spiel before. I haven't got anything further to add.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other councillors? If not, councillors, I'll just take a moment to make a comment, and I agree and concur with Councillor Carr. You know, this is a huge, win for this council, and most importantly for our primary producers. And Councillor Pepper, you put up the notice of motion earlier this year to advocate strongly to the state government for funding for our primary producers. And not only have they been doing it hard this year, but this is the third year now of poor rainfalls and lack of fodder and feed for their stock. So I'm sure this will be most welcome by our primary producers when they receive their rate notice in the post. And we know that there will still be hardships felt by our farmers. They've spent a lot of money on their feed over the last couple of years, and it doesn't mean that the hardship doesn't continue until such time as we can get some consistent rain and at the right times. That we'll be able to make some feed for them to store for the following season. So, councillors, our motion as tabled on page 5 was moved by Councillor Carr and seconded by Councillor Pepper. Those in favour? Carried. Thank you. We'll have nothing further to add to tonight's meeting, so I shall close the meeting. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, CEO and staff, for